Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for the story we're about to look at today. So we are continuing our run of X-Men, particularly Chris Claremont's X-Men. I do have a playlist. I started with Classic X-Men #1 and all the way through. I am looking at covering Chris Claremont's entire X-Men run in chronological order. And that is going to be a dubious task because it's going to include everything, including the New Mutants, including um, Excalibur. And even though he didn't write X Factor, it will include X Factor as well. So it's gonna be a lot of stuff. So that's my future plan. And so we're basically in our infancy still. So Classic X-Men #30 from 1988. Great cover here by Steve Lytle. This is actually a better cover than the original. Just absolutely love this cover. Goodness gracious. I don't know about you guys, but I prefer it. Like I said, prefer it to the original here. So the reason I use Classic X-Men is this is the original cover. Um, the reason I use Classic X-Men is because of the exposition that was added. Now there's no more exposition, meaning Chris Claremont would include extra material the in the actual main story, but then he would also have a backup. Now the exposition has ended, but the backup stories in there. So here it kind of just gives you a quick plot of what is going on, and then the backup story is about Arcade and his twisted personality and reveals unsettling truths or details about his childhood. I am on the record as saying that I am not a big fan of Arcade, but c'est la vie, right? And here is a full version of the cover. So this covers X-Men 124 from 1979. We saw in the previous issue of Colossus was turned into that proletarian. So I really don't know what that means, but Dave Cockrum is doing the covers, so I don't know why John Byrne just wasn't able to get these covers, but John Byrne only has done, I think, two or three, and Dave Cockrum has done all the rest. And I like these boots of Cyclops. I really do. These what would you what are these kind of boots called? I don't know. But they're cool anyway. So we get the main story here by Claremont and John Byrne with Terry Austin. And then the backup is not written by Chris Claremont, but John Bolton does return as the um, as the artist on the backups for a couple more issues here. So love this with Colossus holding the Russian flags here. So all right, so he only laughs when I hurt. So um, we got Arcade laughing. I have, if you heard the last video, you heard me say that I really don't care for Arcade and think he's a stupid villain. But he's got all these monitors here, setting up the X-Men on death traps here. So we saw that Black Tom Cassidy hired Arcade to get rid of the X-Men. So, friend, he's gonna be getting $1 million. So, all right, Arcade is like, hoo ha! I'm laughing so hard it's making me cry. Those X-Men are putting on a heck of a show. I sure hope you fine fillies are enjoying it as much as I am. And Colleen Wing says, "Oh, sure, nothing like watching people you love fighting for their lives. If you're going to kill them, at least have the decency to do it quickly, cleanly." And Arcade says, "Decency's dull. Besides, Miss Colleen Wing, your way, they're dead, and that's the end of it. My way, at least they have a chance. Not much of one, but a chance. You're insane. Crazy as a loon. Been that way for years. Give us a kiss, huh, toots?" And he goes, "Smooch. If my hands were free, Arcade, I'd give you something a lot stronger than a kiss." And he says, "Temper, temper. You know you're beautiful when you're angry." Um, so my problem with Arcade is just the stupid elaborate, um, and I know it's over the top and over. I get it, and that's what comic books are, but I just don't connect with this dumbass villain. So I, he's just not my cup of tea. He's too over the top. So, all right, we're gonna get a quick peek as to why he's so stupid, meaning why he's a villain. So, what kind of sewer did you crawl out of anyway? Beverly Hills. I was your basic little rich kid, spoiled rotten. When I turned 21, Daddy said I was no good and cut off my allowance. The next day, I cut off Daddy's life. So you can see here, he rigs the car to explode. That's when I realized that I had a great and unique talent for murder. Within a year, I was the best hitman in the States, and I was bored stiff. You see, ladies, any fool can kill. I wanted to do it with style. So I combined my genius with Daddy's fortune and created Murder World, the first assassination amusement park. It was an instant success, but before long, I was bored again. I built my Disneyland of death. What I needed now was was a foe worthy of it and me. And along came Messrs. Roque and Morgan, members of the European Magia hierarchy, offering a contract on an English superhero, Captain Britain. I said yes and ended up bagging two heroes for the price of one. Cap and the Amazing Spider-Man. It was truly a fight to remember. They beat me on my own fair and square turf, and I loved every minute of it. That's on Marvel Team Up 65 and 66. So, I was getting set for a rematch with the Wallcrawler when Black Tom Cassidy and K. Marco, the Juggernaut, made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So, gentlemen, as of right now, the X-Men are as good as dead, he says to them when they demanded a decision. Capturing them turned out to be a cinch, start to finish. I controlled the entire team, with you lovely ladies as an unexpected bonus. Inside an hour, they never knew what hit them. So, I had high hopes for tonight's game, and so far it's not been disappointed, but enough babble. It's time we looked on our merry mutants to check up how they're doing. Love the red here with the screen tones that Terry Austin has applied. A genius coloring job. Genius. Starting with Cyclops, Wolverine, and Colossus. What are you doing? We're friends. And Colossus says, I told you I'm no longer Colossus. I am proletarian, hero of the Soviet Union. You turned me against my motherland, tricked me into betraying all I ever loved or believed in. For that you will pay. And Wolverine is all upset. You're crazy. You joined the X-Men the same as we all did, out of your own free will. If you've betrayed anyone's trust, bub, you betrayed ours. I always wondered if my adamantium claws would cut your steel hide, Risky. Now I'm gonna find, and then he's grabbed. I think not, little madman. Colossus, let him go. You're killing him. Of course, my mission is to destroy the X-Men. However, since you want Wolverine so badly, by all means, have him. And he tosses him towards Cyclops. What now? Words aren't stopping Peter. My only real chance to use... Sorry, my only real chance is to use a full-strength tight beam optic blast. But that much concentrated power could cripple him, or worse. And so Wolverine goes, dumb, real dumb. I should have remembered that Petey's a lot faster than he looks. I better, hey, the wall's moving. And you can see the wall spinning here. And Cyclops yells, Wolverine! He hit some kind of revolving door. I better get after him. Lord knows what sort of traps are on the other side. And if I'm lucky, I'll have a chance to figure out how to deal with Colossus. And then he goes, too late. The door's already shielded, and you can see here from behind Peter's hand. Comrade, you cannot escape me easily, as the Colossus tosses him. No, he's tossing me the length of this corridor. I don't have Wolverine's unbreakable bones. The impact will splatter me all over the wall. And so he also goes through the wall. And Colossus says, Lennox Ghost, which is another one of his phrases. So he says, by the white wolf and Lennox Ghost. Another secret door. I have failed. Cyclops and Wolverine both still live. I am glad. What am I saying? They're enemies of the state. Colonel Vashin of the KGB told me so. I remember his voice, lights burning through my very soul, showing me where my duty lies. I must find the X-Men, and this time I must not fail, as Colossus goes on a mission. And so we back to Arcade here. Poor Sap. He must have some real fundamental doubts about being an X-Men for me to have brainwashed him so quickly and completely. Who to look in on next, I wonder. I know, Storm. And so here she goes. I barely managed to deflect Arcade's lightning trap. Somehow he can manipulate the environment in this room, artificially countering my natural abilities to control the elements. And so you see this big energy beam here. He's creating a vicious downdraft again. It's too powerful. I can't stay airborne. And she goes into the water. Last time, I belly flopped like I was a child. I'd forgotten how much it hurt. Landing knocked the wind out of me, too. I have to get back to the surface. Water's a much heavier medium than air. It's much harder for me to manipulate, but as soon as I catch my breath, oh no, the water level's risen almost to the ceiling. Another few inches and I'll drown. So, I love the screen tones being applied here also. So, and I love the big eyes just showing the concern, like, oh boy. And so, now Cyclops is going down. I'm going like a rocket down this chute. I hope there's nothing in the way when I hit the bottom. Made it, but where? This room's like a giant chromium goldfish bowl end. He sees Nightcrawler and yells for him. He's about to be totaled by a runaway bumper car with buzzsaw accessories. Sorry, Cade, not while I can help it, as he uses his optic beams. Kurt, are you okay? You're bleeding. And he says, it's only a scratch. One of those manic Dodge cars came a little too close for comfort. If I knew where we were, I'd teleport out of this verdampt nightmare. I'm afraid I can't help you, but at least one worry just bit the dust. I zapped the car. You misunderstand, my friend. It's not the car. It's a car. Look. Till now they've been coming after me, one at a time. Oh, brother. Well, they're hunting in a pack now, so here you can see all these cars heading to them. I truly love my death race, mostly because the screams I hear are real. So much for Cyclops. How about his pint-sized psychopathic partner? So... he joined Banshee in the latest episode of Battle Star Wars 1999, so... Here comes Wolverine, all confused. And Banshee's like, Wolverine, are you real? And Wolverine says, real confused. I know the feeling. We're inside a monster's hologram, but some of the ships are real, firing real lasers. If my throat were fully healed, I could use my sonic scream as a radar to tell me which was which. Without, though, I'm helpless. And Wolverine says, I'm not. Hit the deck. So, cripes. We all knew Banshee was hurting, but I didn't figure the damage was this serious. Be cool, pal. I'll get us past this. I don't just see with my eyes alone. I use my senses. And holograms don't carry a scent. Yeah, I thought there was a wall here, and you can see him take out his claws and make a hole. Bingo, a maintenance tunnel. Come on, Banshee. I found us a way out as the things continue to shoot. So, then again, I could be wrong again. Glory. Cretins, there is no escape from Murder World. And so we got Magneto and the Hulk. Magneto and the Hulk, how'd they get here? Says Banshee. Sorry about this, ex-chumps, but Spider-Man already used that particular route, and no one gets to fake out arcade the same way twice, as he laughs. So now we're back to Storm here. I have to move fast, but I mustn't panic. Must remember my training. Stay in control, stay alive. First, I've got to dump my cape and boots. I can't afford to have their drag slow me down. So here she is taking off the stuff. Now, slow deep breaths, as many as I can get. Like a pearl diver, I have to saturate my lungs, my body with oxygen before I take my final breath. The water has to be entering the room through a pipe or vent. That's it. Either I find an exit in the next few minutes or I die. All I have to do is follow this faint current back to its source. There. So she sees this, but she won't be able to get out. So I have to manifest my power as lightning and shoot a single continuous bolt directly into the pipe walls. Hopefully the electrical arc will melt the welds that seal it together, rupturing the pipe and washing me to freedom. The question is, which will give out first, the pipe or my lungs? Probably your lungs, but it's a comic book, so the pipe. All right, so these guards are chasing them, and so Cyclops finally says, get behind me. And so he uses his optic blast and uses it to destroy the cars. So, Nightcrawler, I love it when they add the little eyeballs to him, or the little pupils. Cyclops, how did you? I haven't tried that stunt in ages. It's nice to know the old skills haven't atrophied, he says, as he continues blasting. Perfect. My first shot took care of the cars. My second made us an exit. After you, Nightcrawler. Thanks, I think. This is some kind of maintenance tunnel. Looks deserted, too. I hate to split us up, but we've no alternative. You take the main tunnel up there, and I'll take the branch line. If you find any of the other X-Men, try to help them. If you find Arcade's control center, he says, I know, trash it. So, and this guy says, trouble, Arcade. Storm's generating more power than the system in a sword. We can't hold her much longer. And Miss Locke says, you needn't worry about the girls, Arcade. I've taken care of them. Permanently, I hope. Start a computer search pattern, Miss Locke. I've lost Nightcrawler and Cyclops. So, here comes Cyclops here. The tunnel's probably crammed with sensors. Sooner or later, Arcade's bound to find us. But it's, sounds like a fight. And so, of course, we got Wolverine and Banshee fighting the robotic Magneto and Hulk. And you can see here some of the Hulk stuff. So, Wolverine's like, been waiting months for a rematch with the Hulk. Too bad you ain't the real thing. So, look at Wolverine go. That boy's so crazy. He reminds me of me. Forget about Cyclops, Miss Locke. According to my monitor, he just joined his chums, making his usual dramatic entrance. Just find Nightcrawler. So, of course, he is here, kind of blended in. And he teleports, scaring Arcade. And Miss Locke shoots him, but Nightcrawler ends up punching her bag. Punching her face, sorry. And so he takes that and shoots that computer thing. And so he calls for his friend, or his employee. Chambers, the gas. Yes, sir. What? Another man? In my haste, I missed him. Good. Now, Miss Locke, do with Nightcrawler what you did with the girls. And so, Here, Cyclops is dismantling Magneto, and now suddenly here comes all this water. Man, oh man. I understand that they um did, his origin and all that stuff, but man, oh man, there's got to be a better way to kill people. I'm just saying, it's not very efficient. And so Cyclops yells out for Storm, and he gives her some CPR, and finally she goes out of it, and he says, "Easy, Ororo, don't try to speak." And so now here comes Colossus, or should I say the proletarian. And so he asks her, "Do you feel strong enough to walk?" And Colossus says, "It's too late for walking, comrade Cyclops, or running. I have found you at last, and this time you will not escape." And Storm is like, "Peter! Ah, Peter, glad to see you, lad. I was worried sick about you." And Cyclops is like, "Banshee, stay back. Colossus has been." And he punches poor Banshee, and then takes Wolverine and punches him, and then grabs Cyclops and Storm. Storm tries to plead with him, "Peter, why? We're your friends." And he says, "You lie, woman, as Charles Xavier lied when he used his cursed mental powers to cloud my reason and subserve my loyalty to Mother Russia. How my treason must have hurt my mama and papa and my little sister. I have shamed my family and myself." If you remember last month's uh or the previous issues backup story, we know that that backup story will happen after this. So and so um Cyclops says, "Somehow Arcade's brainwashed Peter. We've got to talk him out of it while we've got a chance. But I got to be careful, though. He's choking us slowly. A flick of his wrist could snap our necks. Colossus, remember where we are. This is Murder World. Everything you've been told comes from Arcade. Peter, listen to me. When I was a little girl, I grew up alone. No family, no friends. That all changed when I joined the X-Men. It all changed for us. The X-Men is more than just a school for mutants. Deep down, you must know that. We're almost like a family. Scott is right, Peter. You are all my family. We could never lie to you or betray you." Peter, as you can see, Storm crying. And she goes, "We love you. Don't you see, Peter? You are like the brother I never had, me like a brother. Yes, it's true. Oh, my friends, my dear friends, can you ever forgive me?" And so Arcade pushes a button and says, "Oh, well, you can't win them all." And um, you can see here this thing is kind of forming on it, and it they go again on a ball, and they get kicked out into what's supposed to be a Coney Island. And so it blows up and opens up. What am I dreaming? We are in the face of service, some sort of amusement. "Here, Ododo, let me help you." "Scotty, behind you, man. Fireworks." And so, no, it's the girls, Colleen, Betsy, and Amanda, and Nightcrawler, wrapped up like Christmas packages. Nightcrawler, "I'm fine, Cyclops, just confused." "Psych, look, there's a note pinned to his back." Arcade does have a crazy sense of honor. "I think this fight is over." It says, "Round one to you, X-Men. Till next time." Do you guys see what I mean? It's just... okay. And Wolverine says, not for me, it ain't. Arcade owes me all the lumps I've taken tonight, and I aim to collect." And Cyclops says, "Wolverine, think. Don't just talk, just think." And the note's disintegrated. "How are we going to find him? Is Murder World beneath our feet or 100 miles away? This park is private property. We've no legal right to conduct a search, no authority to make an arrest." "So what? Who's talking arrest?" "Wolverine. He let us all go. We can't even prove he's committed a crime. If we tackle him now, we'll probably be the ones who get busted. So let's quit while we're ahead." And Wolverine says, "You call this ahead? I don't like losing, bub, or running. Neither do I, but sometimes there's no other way to play the cards. Arcade wanted us dead. We trashed his setup and forced him to let us go. Like it or not, we'll have to be content with that this time," he says. So that's the end of the issue, but of course, being classic X-Men, we have a backup. And so our backup is basically with Arcade kind of having a nightmare here. Play With Me is the title of the story. And he wakes up and he remembers who he is, that he had a nightmare, and um kind of things are being a little creepy. He's like, I'm seeing things, as you can see, like this horse staring at him. His computer's going off, and he says someone's operating Murder World. Well, whoever it is, that's Dirty Rat Boy, I'll get him. Um, I think we only have to deal with Arcade like 3 more times, but lucky it's just not that many. So, all right. God, I just don't like him. I apologize. I should be. It's just in the list of villains. He's ugh. Anyway, someone's being chased through Murder World. Who programmed the computer? Who designed the program? Who's being murdered tonight? No fair. This is my toy. So, he's trying to see, and he can't get access. And you can see here he's having a fit because someone's doing this to him. So he gets stressed, and you can see here that Murder World is trying to kill him. So and very Jokerish. And he says, strange shadows, the shapes are familiar, and here's something here. He's like, who's there? And of course, it's these things that are gonna try to shoot him. And so he goes out. You can see him trying to get away. This is beautifully drawn. I love John Bolton. It's just beautifully drawn. So sees himself, a little version of himself, and um, he's got the clown and breaks it. And you look at him, he's like, "You mean little brat?" And so he um hits the kid, and um you can see here, no, no more, no more. And he goes, that brat was me. I was such a rotten child, but I'm terrorizing myself. And so this would be like his dad here. And beating Arcade, because I guess that's how Arcade. And so Arcade goes from behind and kills his dad, who happens to be a robot, so he didn't really kill him. And so the kid's not real either. And then he's like, who did this? Who's and then turns out he programmed it himself and doesn't understand why. Um so that's the end of the backup story. And this would have been the back cover, because Classic X-Men had a back cover. So, all right. So, Classic X-Men number 30 by Chris Claremont, John Byrne on the main story, with Terry Austin and Tom Orzechowski on the letters, and Nocenti and John Bolton on the backup story. Like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.